Are you confident? Do you have consistency? How much conviction do you have? I'm Daniel Gomez, the Confidence Architect, a business strategist, keynote speaker, executive coach, and best selling author. On the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, we will help you unlock confidence to create consistency and develop conviction. Together, we will discover the key that unlocks your confidence. Welcome back to another episode of the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, where we motivate you, we inspire you. Today, we're going to encourage you and give you an extra dose of just love, kindness, and sincerity. Because our guest, I'll tell you what, she's a rock star. She comes from the New Jersey area, and I had the pleasure of meeting her live in person. And I'll tell you, she's a real deal. She became a dear friend of mine. I want to welcome to the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, Miss Julia Gandy. Woo! How you doing, Julia?
Oh, good, Daniel. How are you? It's so
I'm
good to be
doing amazing. I'm doing amazing. I'll tell you what, I was looking forward to just spending this time with you and having you just drop some massive wisdom that you carry. Do me a favor. I know who the amazing, beautiful person you are, but introduce yourself, please, to the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show.
Well, thank you. I am from New Jersey, and I just got done recording and finishing my first book that I wrote on my own, called A Jersey Girl Finds Peace. And that tells my story of coming from a very angry and anxious childhood to finding my inner peace and, well, what I say, the greater access to inner peace, right? Because we're not in a state where we can be peaceful at all times or have that expectation. I live in a real world. I have children, I have a spouse, I have a cat and a dog and an elderly aunt that lives with, so life happens, right? So coming back to that inner stillness more often and easier. And that was the thing, is doing that with more ease, more grace. And I've been in the wellness field for over 20 years now, and started in corporate America doing I was a glorified babysitter. In other words, I was a manager and did not like it at all. Was more interested in helping people grow than helping the bottom line grow. Yeah. So I quickly found out that was not my forte. So I think 26 or 27 when I decided to just
I thought you were 26 right now. What do you mean you were 26 or 27?
Yeah, that was a long time ago, Daniel.
Well, I'll tell you what, the screen that people say that the screen makes adds 10 years. Well, you lose 10 years when you're in.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So what's the title of your book again? I know you kind of went by that pretty quick, but do you have
A Jersey Girl Finds Peace, if you can see.
Jersey Girl Finds Peace.
Yes.
So let me ask you this. I think this is a great segue, because so many people right now, they don't have peace. And I love what you said. You said the inner peace, right? The inner peace of a human being. So, ladies and gentlemen, before Julia drops even more massive wisdom here, I want you to get out your pen, get out your paper, because you know what we say here in our show, whether you're watching live on YouTube or you're listening across the world, what you write down, you retain over 50% of it. So get out your pen, get out your paper, take notes, because Julia's going to drop some massive wisdom, and I want you to retain this information, because what you write down, you remember. Julia, so when we think of inner peace, what do you see the struggle? Because you said you've been in wellness for over 20 years. Why do people struggle from inner peace, not having it?
Wow, that's a big question. And I think there's many, many different answers to that. And I think a lot of it has to do with the expectations that we put on ourselves. That, if you look back, my grandparents' age, my parents' age, before social media and before instantaneous connection, we had time. We had time after dinner to go and sit and talk to our neighbors outside. I remember even in my own life, I am dating myself, but, coming home when the street lights came on and just enjoying life and we don't have that now. We don't have that capacity to just stop, or I don't want to say we don't have that capacity. We don't give ourselves that capacity to just stop. And that's what we need to do. Is one of the things that I talk about with my accountability partner that I've had for the past 3 years is my time boundaries, right? I want to have very strong time boundaries that when I'm done work, I'm done. And the phone goes off. I would have time with the family, just time with my husband, time with my daughter. And that is precious to me. That is precious. And if I don't want to get on Facebook for a couple of days, I won't get on Facebook for a couple of days. And, you know, my business coaches would be like, you need to get on Facebook, but I need that downtime. I need to have time for me, to have that connection and to recharge, because we don't give ourselves that time to stop. It's always like, well, let me do one more thing. Let me do one more thing.
Yeah.
It was amazing that was one of the first phrases my daughter would say was, mommy has one more thing to do. Right? She was like 2.5, 3 years old. And she would say, mommy has one more thing to do. Like, oh, that was a wake-up call, right? That
probably hit you like a brick in the face, huh? I would say like boom, like oh,
yeah,
you know, because kids speak from what they hear, kids speak from what they see.
Yeah,
You know what comes to mind, ladies and gentlemen? I want to ask you this right now. Think about what Julia's saying. Where do you need to set boundaries on your time? Where do you need to set boundaries in your life, in your business? And I want you to really pay attention to what Julia said, right? She made a decision at a certain time, work was cut off. Do you have that boundary set right now? Maybe you bought into the lie of you got to rise and grind, you got to hustle, and all the BS that some of these influencers say. That, believe me, I got to where I'm at by not listening to most of these influencers, because a lot of them, they do it the world's way. And when you really put God first and then family and then your business, it works. I'm not saying you don't got to work, you don't got to do what you need to do. Definitely. But really think about what Julia said. When you take the time to really set that boundary, will it give you more peace? That's a question you need to ask yourself. And then, you know, I'm guilty of exactly what you're saying, Julia, because we were talking about social media and just kind of the investment that I made in time. Pretty much every day, it's an hour in the morning, an hour in the afternoon, and sometimes you want to do more, and then you don't get it done. You put pressure on yourself. So sometimes you got to start outsourcing these things. But I love the fact that you're being transparent, because I think, honestly, this morning when I was just kind of doing some stuff, I was like, man, I got 20 minutes and I put this time frame on me because I want to keep responsibility on myself, be accountable to me. But I could feel the pressure I was putting on myself because, oh man, I'm not even done with this, and I'm not even done with this. And it's like, it's just social media, right? It's going to be there.
Yeah.
And sometimes we forget to live the life in front of us, huh?
Exactly. And yes, social media is a business tool, right? But there, you know, I have a business degree, right, from Rutgers, and I had my kind of major was on like personnel management and how to help people work best, right? So how you need to have appreciation, you need to be appreciated, right? We need to have a sense of contribution, that we're contributing to something greater than ourselves. And when we're solopreneurs, when we're our own boss, we need to do the same thing for ourselves. You know, we need to say, you know, Joel, job well done. You did good today. Take the rest of the day off, or take a half a day, whatever it is. Like today, before I came on here, literally I got a pedicure. It was the first time I was like, you know what? I'm going to have a pedicure. I had an appointment this morning. I had some free time this afternoon, and I did. And I had a nice 45-minute pedicure that I just in the middle of a Tuesday afternoon. And yes, I'm grateful that I have that ability to do that. And I know that it's feeding me so that I can feed others. When I feed myself, I can't give from an empty cup, Daniel. I can't. I've tried it. I've done it. As a caregiver for my mother-in-law during the pandemic, it was hard. And my cup, not only did it empty, but it broke, and I had really a hard time with it. And so filling my cup up is my priority. And sometimes you have to fix your cup before you can fill it up. And then once it's full, then others can drink from the overflow. And that has been my mantra for the past 20 some years, is when you give from an empty cup, it's the other person isn't receiving your highest.
Yeah.
Right? They're not receiving your highest. So when you take care of yourself, fill yourself up so full of gratitude and love and connection that you just emanate that out to the people around you, and they can feel it.
I love that, because so many people, they don't take time for themselves. They don't take time to get a pedicure. They don't take time to say no, right? They don't take time to just fill their cup up. Your spirit, I mean, it's vital in the mornings, ladies and gentlemen. Think about what Julia's saying. Are you taking time for yourself? Are you truly taking time for yourself at some point throughout the day, throughout the week, to refresh in your spirit, to refresh in your heart, to refresh in your body, to go get a pedicure, a manicure, to go get a facial, or whatever it may be to you that you want a massage? I know I'm a massage person, and it's been a while. I know Mari's brought it up here a couple of weeks ago because her coach said, I need to go get a massage, and we tried to get one, and it didn't happen for 2 days, and we just said, well, it kind of went by the wayside. But I'm thinking, like, we need to go get a massage, because we used to always do that. But the question, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to ask yourself is, are you really taking time to take care of yourself and to love on yourself? Not in a selfish way, but in ways where, if you're saying yes to everything, you're going to burn out.
Yeah.
If you're saying yes to everything, you're going to burn out. If you're not taking time to celebrate yourself, and like, I love what you said, Julia, because it's true, right? Most people want to belong to a perfect cause. They want to be appreciated and loved. Well, if you can't appreciate yourself, how do you expect other people to appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen? So write that question down. Write this down on your pad right now. Am I taking time to appreciate myself? Am I taking time to really just refill my cup? Because, like Julia said, you can't give from an empty cup. So if someone's listening to this episode, Julia, and they're liking what we're saying, but I mean, let's be honest, right? Many people don't know how to start a certain new habit or a new boundary they need to set. What are, to find that inner peace, what are 2 or 3 things that people can start doing today that can maybe start shifting their life to where they have that sense of peace, that they're not on that time crunch, that they're not putting undue pressure on themselves?
So the one thing that I did that helped me immensely, and this again is something that I learned through Jack Canfield, and it is every night for 40 nights, and you have to do it every night. If you forget one night, then the next night is the first night. Okay, so you go and it's a mirror work. It's a mirror exercise. And you stand in front of the mirror. You can be brushing your teeth, whatever it is, right before bed. And you look into the mirror, you look into your own eyes, and you say, Daniel, you did a great job today. I loved when and you list off things that you're celebrating yourself, like we were just saying. And at the end, you say, and I love you, right? You look into your own eyes and you say, I love you. And you call yourself by name at least 2 or 3 times during that. It could be 30 seconds. It could be like, a minute, or it could be however long, but you are celebrating you. And what that's doing is it's rewiring your brain, right? It's rewiring. It's going from having that inner critic to your inner cheerleader. Ooh. And that's the huge shift, because I was my worst inner critic. And now when I do things that, I drop something or I make a mistake, I'm like, oh, Joel, love you. Like before I'm like, oh, you idiot. But that voice is gone in my head, right? That voice is no longer there. I've switched to being my own inner cheerleader. And it's like, it's miraculous because of how hard I was on myself before I started
So,
really.
so you get in front of the mirror, you
Yeah,
say, Daniel, you did a great job today. I love you that you took time to spend time with Julia on the podcast. I love you the fact that you told your wife you loved you. And then you say, I love you, Daniel. Is that the
yeah,
way? Or show us, if you can do us a sample, that would be fantastic.
sure. All right. So I'll use me. Okay. So I'm like, sometimes it's like, hey, Joel, you did a great job today. I really loved that you took time to cook dinner and everybody enjoyed it. And it was a really good dinner. And you helped your clients today and you helped, your car worked today without having any, it could be anything that you throw in there. Right. And sometimes it's like, well, you have this to do tomorrow, but that's okay. It's something you can do tomorrow, but you'll get it done. And then the last thing you say is, and Joel, I love you. I really love you. You look right into your own eyes, and it's powerful. It is so powerful that you are you I can feel it. I can feel the difference, and it's just like your own divineness, right? Coming through and looking at you being you, right? And just accepting. It's unconditional self-love. And that's where the magic happens.
I love that because I'm gonna add, did you know that your eyes are actually part of your brain?
Yeah, it's all your nervous system. Yeah.
Well, see, yeah, but so the truth, right? People, well, there is your nervous attracted to your eyes, to your brain, but really, if you look it up, and they've proven this scientifically that your eyes are actually what Julia's saying is right because your eyes are actually a part of your brain. They're an extension of your actual brain, and since it's tapped into your subconscious mind and your neurosystems, right? Your neural pathways. What Julia's saying is since your eyes are part of your brain, you're speaking to your soul, you're speaking to your brain, you're rewiring those neural pathways and you start to love yourself. And it's amazing that it's as powerful and as simple as that. I challenge everybody listening to this episode, give yourself 40 days. And like Julia said, if you stop one day, you got to start all over again the next day, back to square one. Invest this time in yourself. I love that. So let me ask you this. How many days before did you do it before you like, man, this shit works? Because
Yeah,
the thing is that let's be real, right?
exactly.
Our world right now today in America, if it doesn't happen in 2 minutes, it doesn't work. But stuff like this, right? Like the process in this takes time. So
Yeah.
how many days just for you, of course, it's just to give somebody an idea, did it work? Did it take you to start seeing like, you know what? I'm not an idiot. I love myself. I'm beautiful, right? Like how long did it take you to get to that place?
I want to say it was a few, maybe like more than 30 days, because what they say, how, as you to break a habit or to make a new habit takes 20 days or whatever they say, so what you're doing is you're breaking a habit and forming a new habit. So that's where the 40 days comes in. But it was a while. So I gave it that 30 days, 35 days. And then, but I was religious with it because I would have like my evening routine was I had um manifestations and things like that. I would look through and it was like mirror exercise, like, oh, I'd like literally get out of bed and go and do it if I forgot. And so I still do it. This was 3 years. I still do it. Maybe not every night, but I know when I don't do it is like, okay, I need to do this. So I have this conversation with myself pretty much, I want to say 3 or 4 times a week now. And
So this is the $1 million question.
yeah,
How many times did you start over?
I think it was like once or twice.
Was it?
It wasn't many times because I wanted it to work because I needed to make a change. I needed it for myself. And this was after cancer. It was after my divorce. It was like a lot of things. So I needed to make a change in me. And, being a massage therapist for 20 some years, I had to work a lot to get myself up and out of the constant anxiety that I had. And so doing this inner work was really the only thing that helped me find that sense of ease within myself. And then from there, it was easier to get into a more peaceful state. So it has been a long process, but this one particular thing was a game changer for me. And
I love it. You know, the reason I asked you that question is because I know somebody's going to listen to this and they're going to be like, they're going to try it and then they're going to maybe get to day number 9 or 10. Because usually if you do it 10 times, you're going to pretty much go the whole distance. But by 8 or 9, day number 8 or 9, they're going to stop. And they're going to feel like a failure. They're going to say, I don't do anything right. But what I want you to take away, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that she didn't just stop once. She did it. She had to start all over twice, which is okay. Look at the changes done in her life now. I want you to start this. Commit to the next 40 days that you're going to look in the mirror, that you're going to tell yourself what Julia said, right? You had a great day today. I love the fact that you cooked dinner for your family. I love the fact that you went the extra mile for one of your clients, whatever it may be for you. I love the fact that you took time to tell your kids you love you. And then say, and you and Daniel, I love you. And do this for 40 days. I guarantee you that Julia's right, that it's going to transform your life because she's right. 21 days to start forming a habit, 90 days it becomes a lifestyle. What's something else you did? What's the second hack you can give us?
So I'm a heart math coach and trainer, right? So one of the things that was really helpful for me is what's called attitude breathing, right? So it's just a matter of acknowledging what feeling you're feeling, right? So say you catch yourself being worried or anxious, or I'm feeling sad, or whatever it is, whatever you're feeling that is, I don't want to say this is not appropriate for the situation, right? So if you're at a funeral and you're sad, that's perfectly acceptable. That's perfectly fine. But when you live in a sad state, right? When you live in a depressed state, when you live in a state of anxiety or of worry or whatever it is, that's when things can deplete you. Those emotions can physically deplete your system. So acknowledging where you are. So I would do this just walking around the house. I'm feeling anxious, but I want to feel calm. And okay, I'm feeling anxious and I want to feel calm. And you, again, need to repeat it. And like you said, a lot of people want this like one and done thing, but we're not. We aren't microwaves. We don't stop in 30 seconds. We have to rewire our bodies. We have to rewire our nervous systems and our brains, and using these biohacks can help us with acknowledging, number one, where we're at, where we are, because we don't want to push that worry away. We don't want to we want to let it go away, right? We don't want to force it away because it's going to come back stronger. So we need to kind of and I say that, as someone who's done a lot of this work, is there's a part of you that is worried. There's a part of you that is calling out for help, right? So if it's like a little child that's 6 years old, you don't want to push that child away, right? You want to take it in, you want to hug, you want to love, and you want to say, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. So imagine you as a 6-year-old having this conversation with the adult you that says, I'm hurting, I'm worried, what do I do right now? And the adult you comes and says, that's okay, we got this, we're okay. So you acknowledge where you're feeling, and then you say where you want to be.
I love what you're saying, because what, ladies and gentlemen, what Julia's saying is this: many times as adults, right now, as you as an adult, you're over 18, you're an adult. So as an adult, many times we don't make decisions based on right and wrong. We wish we would do every decision based on right and wrong, but the truth is we don't. Many times the decisions that we make are not based on right and wrong. It's based on the inner child of that's inside of us. And if that inner child is still wounded from traumas that have not been dealt with, well, then you're going to make that decision based on that inner child that still has that trauma, that wound inside of them. Let me say it again. What Julia is saying is right. We wish, right? Sometimes we say this, Julia, right? How in the hell did they make? What did they? What happened? Like, why couldn't they see that this was what they had to do? But it's easier to say it from an outside perspective. But when you're the person in that decision-making moment, and especially if you're under pressure, they don't make it under right and wrong. You wish you would, but you make it based on the inner child that's still wounded, that still has that trauma that we've never dealt with.
Yeah.
And the thing is, this is many adults, ladies and gentlemen, is write this down. Have I really taken time to see if I have any traumas lingering in my life? Because you do. And I say this, Judy, because I would, when anybody would talk about my mom, I would always just say, oh, I really don't miss my mom. My mom was like, I was 10 when she passed away, and my dad was there, and I love my sister. Like I listened to I was reflecting back on pretty much every time I had this conversation or subject come up, and it was never that, oh, I miss my mom deeply, or it was never like that. But something that I found out recently was I had abandonment issues. So where was that abandonment issue coming from? Well, the abandonment issue was coming from the fact that as a 10-year-old kid, when my mom died from breast cancer, that I felt she abandoned me. Like I was abandoned by my mom. And of course, none of her doing, right? It's just part of the way her life went. But for me, I just started crying. I was like, why am I crying? Like it arose in me.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, like it was just like, I never saw my mom passing away from breast cancer as an abandonment issue for me. But that's what as a child, not knowing, that's what I interpreted the way it was just presented to me and told to me that she was no longer living. I'm like, my mom didn't even tell me by herself. And we don't realize this because as a kid, you just take it in for what's presented in front of you. And that's an example, ladies and gentlemen, of what I'm talking about. And then people say, oh, I don't have any issues. Believe me, they're deep down inside you. You just don't realize it. And this is when they come up, Julian. I want you to kind of speak to this because you have some experience in this. Is that a lot of times when these traumas come up, these insecurities come up, is when God's getting ready to take you to another level. And then the stress is put on you. Life is happening to you. And you either self-sabotage yourself and collapse, or you either push through and try to figure out what the hell is really causing this. And the surface, right? The problem will surface. Most of us just don't want to deal with that. What's your experience in that?
Well, I kind of am living that right now. Because every morning I this is a really good book. Neil Pastrika. It's called 2-Minute Mornings, right? So I do this every morning. And it's like, what will you let go of today? What am I grateful for? And what will I focus on? And everything, every day is also thoughts of self-sabotage. Because that has been my thing that I have found that, oh my gosh, I won't return an email, or it'll take me 2 weeks to call somebody back, and it was like this almost like a hand comes up and just try to pull me back down, and so when again, it's all self-awareness, and as I become aware of this action within me, that I have, it's a choice point, right? You can either choose to go with the self-sabotage route, or you can choose to say, okay, help me see this differently. Help me to see this in a new context. Help me move through this. And because what's happening is there's this comfort zone, right, that we are all at, and it goes back to stress levels in our bodies, and if our thermostat in our home is set at 72, the heater, the air conditioner, whatever, is going to work to make that 72 at all times. Our body has the same kind of thermostat, and it's homeostasis. So we want to stay at one particular level, whether that's a high level of stress. If we're in a high stress level job and we try to,
what is it called? Homostasis, you said?
yeah, homeostasis.
Homeostasis. Okay. Go ahead. I'm
And
sorry.
no, that's okay. So what if we're in a high stress job, right? And we're not stressed, then our body feels off, right? It feels like, wait, what am I'm missing something. So like meditation, what is that? And the work is to bring that homeostasis, that level down, so that it's not running at a high level all the time. And so when we're making these changes, it feels uncomfortable. It feels like we're not where we should be. We're kind of breaking through this self-contained, self-limiting belief, this container that we feel comfortable in, right? Everything is right where it should be. But when we're growing, when we're expanding, when we're becoming more of who we should be, who we were meant to be, that's where the space and the grace comes in, because we need to allow ourselves that uncomfortableness, right? And what I taught, I was doing meditation. It was right when the pandemic started here in New Jersey. It was like March 11th, March 12th of 2020. And at the time, and I still am, at the time I was a massage therapist for hospice, right? And I would go from half of the state would go into different nursing homes. And it was like, okay, you're done. You can't come back to work anymore. And I understood, like I could, how it would go. I had like 40 some patients to see, but it killed me, because I was like, I don't know if I'll see my patients again. They're sitting, I have no idea what was going to happen. So I was like really, really, really upset. And so I went to bed that night with this on my heart. And I said, just tell me what to do. Like, how can I help? How can I help? And so talk about getting divine guidance, right? I woke up with do guided meditations on Facebook Live. Like, what? Like, I don't even know how to do a Facebook Live. And you want me to do guided meditations on Facebook Live every morning. So I was like, okay, I asked for it, and this is what I'm going to do. So for 2.5 years, I did guided meditations every morning on Facebook Live, on my my Peace and Love Amplifiers Facebook page. And it helped a lot of people through the pandemic. But it was me getting out of my comfort zone. It was me just like pushing, tearing walls down, and getting myself into a new level. I mean, it was ugly at first because I didn't know what I was doing. I had
So I love what you're saying, because right now there's many people that are in the same scenario, maybe not the same situation, but parallel. It's the scenario is similar. Say some words of encouragement to that man or woman right now, that they know they right. COVID came for you, and it shifted you, it pivoted you to a different way, but you took action. You started doing Facebook Lives for 2.5 years, meditation, but you were right. It was uncomfortable. Talk to that man or woman right now that's really scared to try that new. They know they need to do it. They know that they need to do it. They know they need to do it, but yet they're so scared, or they have that fear inside of them that I don't want to look dumb, or they say the remark like, it's stupid, I don't need to do that, but they know in their heart, I need to do this, but they're not doing it. Take a minute or two and speak to that person, please, if you don't mind, Julia, because you've lived it, you've experienced it, and what better person to speak on that than the person that's actually experienced that.
Yeah. And to go back to working in hospice has really put my life into perspective, right? Because it's been a gift that I am there with these patients at the end of their life. You know, it could be the last 6 months, it could be the last year, it could be the last few days, right? It's with each person, it's different. But I remember sitting there when I first started, I was training. This was back again, like 10, 12 years ago, that it hit me, right? I was with the music therapist, and we were going into a patient's home, and she was so upset and so despondent. And it hit me like, oh my gosh, like this is it for her. This is it. Like she doesn't have much longer to live. And I just remember sitting there just being an observer, and like, holy, it was very eye-opening to me. And from that moment on, it was, what can I do now that I won't regret when I'm on my deathbed? What can I, and it puts things into perspective, because when we get there, we're not going to want another, another whatever. We want to have connections. We want to have people in our lives that we know that we touched and that we've impacted. And whether that's through our own story and getting up and getting out of our own way, because we have these limiting beliefs that we can only go so far. And because that's how far our father went or how far our mother went. But we are divine beings, right? We are manifestations of the divine. So how dare we limit ourselves with anything, right? And so yes, that's on one perspective, but the other perspective is like, just take baby steps. Just take little steps at a time, whether it's doing that mirror exercise, or whether it's just, I'm feeling fearful right now, but I want to feel confident. And whatever it is that you do, just, it's baby steps. It's a journey. It's a journey. It's a journey. And to fall in love with the journey of it, of the growth, of feeling the whatever it is that makes you, gives you the goosebumps and the hairs stand on the back of your neck, and you just feel it, right? And you take that with you, and you use that as your fuel. You use, and gosh, I forget her name right now, it's out of my head, but Lisa Nichols, right? I listen to her every morning, and it's like, use your fuel, use your pain as your fuel, your fear as your fuel. Yes. And propel you forward. And the one thing she says is, hold fear in one hand and your passion in the other, and jump. Just jump. And it, like, to me, like, I'm doing yoga every morning, and that's what I'm going for it. And so, because when I'm on my deathbed, I want to say, yeah, Joel, you did it. You, like my stepfather says, I want to slide into home plate and be exhausted, and yeah, like, live life while you're here. And that's what we're here. We're here to expand, and we're here to grow. And that's what we came here to do.
I love what you just said. Live life. You're here to live life. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to what you said. You're here to live life, to truly live it, not to be passive and be on your deathbed in the age of 65 or 70, whatever age it may be for you. And you're going to be like, I wish I would have. I should have.
Yep.
I never did, but I always wanted to. And then you have that regret, and you die on your deathbed with all these regrets. And listen to the words of Julia, what she said. You're here to live life to the fullest. And everybody has their own gift. You got to let your gift shine. You got to let your gift be seen to the world. And I love what you're saying, Julia. And thank you so much for being an amazing guest. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to what she's saying. My takeaway is this: if there's one thing that Julia said that I live by, is mirror work. You never outgrow mirror work, because it really helps you to start loving yourself, to start believing in yourself. And I'm going to even do this exercise. I do one similar, but I like this one at night because it definitely adds a different twist. And not only do you have to have a morning routine, but you also have to have an evening routine. So this is great to add into anyone's evening routine. It takes about a minute or so, and you're worth that minute investment. Julia, what's a scripture or a quote as we come to the end of this amazing episode that you stand on when times of adversity? A scripture or a quote that you read to yourself or that you say to yourself?
Well, I have it right here. It's from Mother Teresa. And it says, if we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. So if we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. And we do. We are all connected. We're all brothers and sisters. We're all put on this planet. And divisions and self-made divisions are, or man-made divisions, I want to say, are what causes us to think that we aren't connected, but we are. We are truly connected. So yeah, that's where the work is for me.
And if somebody wants to get your book, where can they get your book at?
JerseyGirlPeace.com.
JerseyGirlPeace.com. Are you gonna autograph it for us?
What's that?
Is it gonna be an autographed copy for us?
Yeah, it will be. It will be.
So we'll put that in the show notes, ladies and gentlemen. Jersey Girl. Say that again. The email address. I mean the website.
JerseyGirlPeace.com. And
Awesome.
it is on Amazon if you want to get it from there. But if you go to Jersey Girl Peace, it will be autographed by me.
Love it. How do we get a hold of you? Somebody wants to work with or talk to Julia Gandy. Just love what you're saying. How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, I will give my cell number is 609-634-2396.
Awesome.
That's the way to get to me. And you can either text or call.
And just don't call her after midnight. She'll be asleep.
After I think it's like 8 o'clock, my phone goes on do not disturb.
Oh, Julia, thank you so much for joining us. Such a beautiful episode today. I tell you, I love everything you're about. I love supporting you, and you're just a rock star. Ladies and gentlemen, Julia Gandy, we'll put her number again on the show notes. That way you can connect with her. She definitely has a lot of value to deliver at a higher level. And then till next week, ladies and gentlemen, that's the episode for this week. An amazing guest, like we said. We'll bring you another epic guest next weekend. And if you're stuck in life, if you're stuck in business, go to DanielGomezGlobal.com. That's DanielGomezGlobal.com. Do our free entrepreneurs assessment. We want to help you. We want to give you a 45-minute discovery session to help you. And if you really need to take your life to the next level even more, go to themakingsofamillionairemind.com. That's themakingsofamillionairemind.com. Get your autographed copy like Julia right there. And it's going to change your life. It's going to change your business. It's going to just elevate you. And better yet, why not get the online program, 27 powerful modules that are going to transform your life. It's worth the investment. We've helped thousands of people already with the makings of a millionaire mind. I tell you, I want you to be one of them. So stop getting stuck in your own frustration and let us help you along the way. Once again, this is Daniel Gomez Inspire saying, join us next week with another amazing guest on our episode next time. And Julia Gandy, thank you again for joining us. We love you and we appreciate you.
Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate you.
This is Daniel Gomez, and thank you so much for tuning into our show today. We'd love your feedback. Please drop us a comment, and thank you for leaving us a review. Don't forget to subscribe to our show and share this episode with a friend. And my free gift for listening to our show today is a copy of my best-selling book, You Were Born to Fly. To get your free copy, go to DanielGomezInspires.com and get your copy today. That's DanielGomezInspires.com. And to elevate your life and business even more, follow me on social media at Daniel Gomez Inspires on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Together, we will discover the key that unlocks your confidence.